Yo, what's up? A very good morning to our beloved doctor and my fellow teammates. So today I'm going to our group is going to perform a presentation regarding to the sequence diagram. So as you can see, it's presented by Wolfers, Richard's tag. So before I start the presentation, I would like to have a very brief introduction about ourselves and our group probably. So our name is Wolf's Richard tag. You might be wondering why we choose wolves to symbolize us and become our team name, because wolves usually works in a team and they hunt their food together. You hardly can see a wolf, a single wolf appear in front of you. So we hope that wherever problem we encounter, we can work as a team, as a wolf, to tackle every problem together. So I would like to introduce you our group members. So my name is Alvin Hee Jun Sheung, and we have Khor Yong Xin as well, Chia Wei Hong. Three of us are the second year of data engineering students. We study in UTM, and I'm from Pahang. Raub, my hometown is Raub, and I'm 21 years old. I welcome you, doctor, to travel to my hometown when the condition is under control, because my hometown got lots of places to play. And Khor Yong Xin, she is from Penang. Yong Xin is one of the highest girls in our class. So if you got a chance to meet her face to face, doctor, you gotta impress by her height. So we have Chia Wei Hong, a very talented young boy from Selangor. His background is matriculation. So without further ado, let's get started. So you might be wondering, what is a sequence diagram? So I'm going to explain and let you know about more on the sequence diagram. System sequence diagram is actually one type of the UML interaction diagrams. So we have lots of UML interaction diagrams. UML sequence diagrams are interaction diagrams that detail how operations are carried out. They capture the interaction between objects in the context of a collaboration. Sequence diagrams are time focused, and they show the order of interaction visually by using the vertical axis of the diagram to represent time, what messages are sent and when the messages are going to send. As you can see, sequence diagram is used to model input and output messaging requirements for a user case or scenario. Moreover than that, sequence diagram also show us how the actor interact with the system, and also showing the sequence of interactions as message during the flow of an activities. A sequence diagram is usually shown as one object, or commonly known as a black box. So we understand the basic idea of sequence diagram. Now we are going to understand why we are going to have the purpose of having a sequence diagram is to actually model a high level interaction between active objects in the system. The purpose of having a sequence diagram is model the interaction between object instances within a collaboration that realizes a use case.
So my name is Chia Wei Hong. I will explain about the symbol in sequence diagram. The first symbol in the sequence diagram is actor. Actor is represented by a stick figure as shown in the diagram on the right hand side. Actor is a person that interacts with system by entering input data and receiving output data. The second symbol in the sequence diagram is object. Object is a rectangle with shape with the name of the object. The object is used to demonstrate how an object will behave in the context of the system. Lifelines. Lifeline is a vertical line under object or actor. The function of lifelines is used to show the passage of time for the object and actor. There are two types of lifeline, which is vertical line dashes and long narrow rectangle. If the line is a vertical line dashes as shown in the figure on the left hand side, the creation and destruction of things is not important for the scenario. Well, if the lifeline is a long, narrow rectangle as shown in the diagram on the right-hand side, the lifeline will emphasize that object is active only during part of scenario. The next symbol in sequence diagram is message. Message is an internal event identified by the flow of object in a scenario. The message will request from one actor or object to another to do some action. It will involve a particular method. There are two types of message, which is input message as shown in the figure on the left hand side, and output message as shown in the figure on the right hand side. Comment. The next symbol in a diagram is comment. Comment object is a rectangle shaped with a folded over corner, and it's optional not to explain something in a diagram. That's all for my part. Thank you.
So our case study is user withdraw cash at an ATM. The user will first insert their card at the ATM. Then the ATM will check the validity of the card. So if the card is valid, the user is asked to enter PIN. When the PIN number entered is correct, then the user is asked to enter the amount. Then when user enter the amount, they will check their bank balance in their bank. Then if the balance is enough to be withdrawn, then the last one will be the card will be ejected and the user may take the card. So this is our sequence diagram. So for the first one, we will draw the stickman, which represent the actor. In our case study, the actor is the one that approached to the ATM to withdraw the money. So ATM, bank server, and bank account, those three are the object in the case study. So the sequence to arrange the object is from left to right, because the actor will first approach to the ATM. So ATM will be the first one at the left. Then these are called lifeline. So for the first one, the actor, which means the user or the people that approach the ATM, they will first insert their card. So we can see here, insert their card and a solid line, which means the process, insert their card to the ATM. Then ATM will verify the card at the bank server. So in returning the message, we will use the dotted line. From the bank server, we will check the card is valid or invalid. When the card is valid, which means card okay, and returning this message to the ATM, so we use the dash line. Then after the card is valid, then it will request the PIN from the customer. why we don't use the dash line here is because request pin is not replying to the earlier message, which means it is requesting for information and not receive the information from the earlier message. So we use the solid line. Then in this case, we will see that when verifying the card, it will be the card valid and invalid. So there are two cases in validity of the card. So we use alternative frame. This is the alternative frame. So we can see here, the first one will be if card is valid, but when card is invalid, we will use else. So when verifying the card and the card is valid, then it will go to this process. However, when the card is invalid, then it will go down the else statement process. So when the card is invalid, it will eject the card and to the customer or to the user. So that's all from the first part.
So for the part 2, if the card inserted into the ATM machine is okay, the bank server will request the PIN from the actor. So the actor will enter the PIN into the ATM, and the bank server will verify the PIN. If the PIN number is okay, the ATM will request the amount of how many amount the user want to deposit or withdraw from the ATM machine. Well, else, if the PIN number is invalid, the ATM machine will reject the PIN number and will eject the card and return to the actor. That's all for part 2.
Hey yo, so welcome back. So me, Alvin, will be explaining the last part of this sequence diagram. So when the users input the amount, and then the ATM will then start, the users will input the amount that he or she wishes to be withdrawn, and the ATM will then start the transaction of the bank server. Okay, you see this arrow, and the bank server will then check is there sufficient funds inside the bank account. If there is sufficient fund inside the bank account, the withdrawal will succeed, and then the transaction is successful, and then it will dispense the cash to the users. But whereas if the bank server check there is insufficient funds inside the bank account, it will display error message and the transaction is unsuccessful, and then at last the card is ejected and the whole process of withdrawing the cash is end. So when the interaction is complete, we can now add activation boxes. You see this? These are the activation boxes. Activation boxes show us when and how long an object is performing and processed. We add it on the ATM object, bank server, and then the bank account. So when there is an activation boxes, it tells us that when the process is active and when they do nothing. So from this sequence diagram, we can clearly see that bank account is less active than the bank server and the ATM. So that's all from our group. So thank you for listening to our presentation. I hope all of you stay well. Thank you.